Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Political Ray. This is going to be a quick one because I'm running a little behind today. Some other things I won't get into. But anyway, um, the big thing going around, X, YouTube, it's everywhere, was the meeting between President Zelensky, President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio was there as well. Um, this meeting, this sit down was to sign a minerals deal with Ukraine, which would basically secure, backing from the United States in Ukraine. Pretty much. I mean, basic, simple. It was an easy out for President Zelensky to help end this war because this minerals deal would secure backing from the United States, which is what Zelensky keeps talking about, is that he wants security within Ukraine and backing from the United States. This minerals deal would have done that. The free money coming in from the taxpayers is over. It's done. That well has run dry. His cash cow is done. We're not President Trump has said that we're not funding this war. We're not giving away free money to Ukraine anymore, which is exactly what President Biden every time, right before the election happened in October, I think it was. Zelensky came over to the US, campaigned for the Democrats because he got free money from them, campaigned for the Democrats within Pennsylvania, and then walked away with more billions of dollars in taxpayer money. That that's what he wants. It's line. This is my opinion, but he's lining his pockets. Okay, him and whoever he wants over there. It's not. It's not about this. Again, this is my opinion. I'm not for Putin. I'm not for Russia. I don't agree with the Russia's invading Ukraine. I'm not with that. Okay, I want peace. I'm not with the war. I don't think that Russia should have went in there in the first place. That being said, Zelensky, I do not believe wants this war to end because of the fact that it lines his pockets. And now that his cash cow has run dry and President Trump said no more money, no more free money, you're not getting anymore. But here's what we'll do. We'll give you a contract, a deal, where we will go in, we'll back you, and we'll start mining rare minerals that you have within Ukraine. And it was like $500 billion that he's proposing for this deal. So that emboldens them, and that tells Russia, look, the America has a vetted, we've got an interest within this minerals deal. Stay out, or else. It gives the backing that Zelensky wants. I don't know why he can't see this, but anyway, and I'll be the first to tell you, look, it could have been handled better on both sides, both with President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and President Zelensky. It could have been handled better all the way around. I'll be the first to say that. But it went awry. Excuse me. And this was, like I said, in my opinion, Zelensky should have just kept his mouth shut, signed the minerals deal because it gave him what he wanted. It gets him out of this war, and it's basically a sweetheart deal for Ukraine. It gives him the backing, like I said, he wants in Ukraine from the United States. We have a vested interest within Ukraine now with this minerals deal. It's a $500 billion. It's not a small chunk of change. Anyway, we'll get into this. I think I ranted enough about that to start off with. But we'll look, and I'll tell you too. The first 30 minutes of this was pretty cordial. For the most part, it was very, very cordial. I encourage everybody to go watch it. I mean, when they first come out, President Trump praised Zelensky. He praised his soldiers, calling them brave, saying that they've done a very good job as far as, like, because when Putin invaded, he said it was going to take 3 days, and it's now 3 years later. President Trump said that you and your soldiers have done a wonderful job. Although, if it wasn't for the U.S., it would have you probably wouldn't have lasted this long. And I tend to agree with that, just because of the fact that we have funded them with arms, weapons, ammo, money, everything else. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, so President Trump, he was asked about, his alliance with President Putin. Like I said, I think this is my, again, these are just my opinions, but President Trump, he's trying to get a peace negotiation taken care of. He's trying to negotiate a peace deal. He's not going to be I know it's hard to say after watching the video, but if you're tough on Putin, and then you're, buddy buddy with Zelensky as President Biden was, it's kind of hard to negotiate, because Putin's not going to think that you've got your, the best interests as him. That being said, I can understand the other side, where President Trump is being nice to Putin, and then we've got this. Although for the most part, I think President Trump has been nice to President Zelensky as well. Minus this exchange, it's been pretty good. President Trump's doing what he thinks he can to negotiate a peace. And like I said, I think that this minerals deal would have secured that, because, like I said, we have an interest within Ukraine. I know I keep repeating myself, but this gives Zelensky the backing from the U.S. that he wants. Anyway, this is what he said after being questioned about his friendship with Putin, and I completely agree with his take on it. I do. Anyway, take a look.
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say
yes, you have to
really terrible things about
you got to be nice to both of them, because otherwise, if you're mean to one and not the other, like Biden was, you're not going to get anything done, because Putin's not going to think that you're on his side.
Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America, and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either.
He's right.
So
they don't like each other. He's 100% correct. He's trying to play both sides. He's trying to make a peace deal. Neither side like each other. It's not an easy situation.
It's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
He's right. He's right. I'm just saying. So after this is where it went kind of awry. JD Vance chimed in, and he talked. He kind of called out Zelensky, because of the fact that it's pretty much his people, his young men are being forced into conscription to fight the war. They're being forced into it because they've lost so many people. And it's like I said, it's not an easy. I can understand the predicament, but it's not an easy situation. I can understand that, but it just has to stop. And like I said before, this is Zelensky. This is my opinion. Zelensky should have just been like, okay, we need to get this minerals deal done, because that gives me the backing that I want, secures a foothold for America within the country, and we're going to protect our vetted interest within the country. The minerals deal, $500 billion again. Anyway, here's the exchange between JD, and then President Trump chimes in, and we'll I mean, if you haven't seen it, go watch the whole thing, because like I said, the whole first 30 minutes of this was very cordial. Anyway.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? That you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people.
Right there, a lot of people are saying, I've seen it on X and everywhere else, that President Zelensky called Vice President JD Vance Suka, which is Russia for the B word, a female dog. Anyway, a little bit out of line in my opinion. I don't know Russian. But I think that's a little out of line, especially given the context of we're trying to negotiate a peace deal for this guy, and he's going to do something like that. I think it's uncalled for. But that's just my opinion. I mean,
Bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have
And
problems.
do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of
will
the United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of
Let's
all,
start.
during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
look, this is where President Trump chimes in, because, and I'm going to tell you, President Trump took this as a threat, pretty much, saying that we were going to feel repercussions from this. I'm going to tell you right now, no, I don't think so, because it's the same reason why China hasn't invaded the U.S. because the old saying of behind every blade of grass is an American with a gun, because we own the majority of the guns in the world. No, I don't agree with the fact that we might feel. I don't think so. But hey, I'm not a world leader. I'm not an economist. Maybe we would. I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You
Don't-
will not have
gotta-
a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
He's not wrong. President Trump chimes in here and he says we're trying to solve this problem. You don't, and like I said, President Trump took it as a threat. So he chimed in and said, "Look, you don't need to tell us that. We're trying to solve this and we need to get over this." But
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember
what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel
I'm-
very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have the
saying-
cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards. But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country,
I'm
that's
with all
backed you
respect to your
far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today,
have you said thank
even-
you?
look, so President Zelenskyy, he made a point earlier that saying that President Putin does not honor the agreements, which it's a true statement. It is, because when George Bush was in office, and Russia went into Ukraine. When Obama was in office, Russia went into Ukraine, and when President Trump was in there, they actually signed. I don't know if it was just a ceasefire or if it was an actual peace deal. I think it was just a ceasefire, but don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% sure. But under President Trump, they did sign a deal, and the fighting stopped, and there was no new wars under President Trump in his first term. After that, when President Trump lost the 2020 election, President Biden was in office, and lo and behold, Putin felt emboldened again because it wasn't President Trump. President Trump was a wild card in Putin's eyes, and he didn't want to risk the retaliation that President Trump would bring down upon him. That's what strong leadership is. As soon as Biden got into office, Putin felt emboldened again and went ahead and just went back into Ukraine. That's what happens when you have poor leadership. President Biden was not a strong leader. His cognitive decline and everything else, he wasn't a strong leader. He could shake his finger and say, "Don't you do it," all day long. But it didn't change the fact that President Putin was not intimidated by Biden in any way, shape, or form. He felt emboldened, and he went right back into Ukraine. Now, President Trump's back in, and he's trying to negotiate a peace deal. Like I said, The minerals deal is a good thing for Ukraine. Just sit back. President Zelensky just needs to sit back and say, "Yep, we're gonna get this signed," and you know that'll give a vested interest within Ukraine for the United States, and it'll give him the backing that he wants. That's all he has to do. It's a good deal for him. He needs to just shut up and take it.
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation.
This is a good point that JD Vance brings up. The VP straight up told him, look, I think it was October. He went into Pennsylvania and campaigned with the Democrat Party. Why? Because the Democrat Party is the one that keeps funneling him free taxpayer money. That's why. This guy does not want his cash cow to go away. He wanted the Democrats to stay in power because they kept giving him free taxpayer dollars. That's it. End of story. That's how I think. That's exactly what I think about it. It's my opinion. Could be wrong. I don't think I am. You can let me know. But I think he totally just wants that free money to keep coming into him. And I don't know. Take the deal, Zelensky. Just take the deal. Sign the contract. You got your backing that you want, and it's over. That's it. After that, and like he said in the beginning of this, during the first 30 minutes of this, I think it was in the first 5 minutes, he said, that he wants to have a ceasefire done, and then he can talk about territories after that. And that's fine. We can talk about territories and everything else. We can come to deals on the other stuff after you get a ceasefire done and you start, talking about a lasting peace. So why not just sign the deal and then deal with everything else afterwards? Why not? Anyway.
For the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
President Trump's going to speak loudly now.
Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks.
You haven't been.
Look, he just said, now he might have misspoke. Okay, he might have, because his English, his English isn't his first language. He may have just misspoke there, but the fact that he just said that they've been alone since the beginning is a complete falsehood. Like I said, I give him the benefit of the doubt. He might have just misspoke because English is not his first language. He might have misspoke, but President Trump he didn't, in the heat of the moment, I can understand why he didn't think about that. But to say that, I mean, that's crazy.
In this cabinet,
You haven't been allowed.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak-
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
Look, I agree with President Trump. If it was not for the arms and ammo and everything else that America has provided to Ukraine and its soldiers, I don't think that the war would have lasted that long. I don't. I think that the war would have been over very, very quickly. I think Ukraine would have been taken over. I do. That's just my thoughts. That's what I think, because of the fact that we had to give them so much money and so much weapons and armor, armaments, what have you. We had to pretty much fund this entire war for Ukraine. So that with that makes me think that they wouldn't have lasted. Maybe they would have lasted a few weeks. Yeah, I'm sure. They still had, they don't want Russia coming in and taking over their territory. They might have lasted a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe a year. I don't know, but I don't think it would have lasted 3 years. I don't think so. That's just what I think, just because of the fact, like I said, we have funded this entire war for Ukraine. That's just the gist of it. That's it.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media.
I agree with that. Look, except that there's disagreements. Yes, no, but there's going to be disagreements on both sides. There's going to be disagreements with, obviously, with Russia and Ukraine. There's going to be disagreements with the U.S. and Russia. There's going to be disagreements with the U.S. and Ukraine. So what? Sign the minerals deal and then deal with that crap later. Just do it. Anyway.
Yeah, when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire fast.
He wants guarantees. He wants guarantees. He wants his money to keep flowing in. That's what he wants. Because the minerals deal guarantees the security that he wants. So just sign the deal and then deal with the rest of it later. I know I keep repeating myself on a lot of this stuff, but he keeps going back to it. I mean, it's an easy solution. The minerals deal gives him the backing of security that he wants from the U.S. So sign the deal, deal with the territories and everything else afterwards. Get the deal, get that minerals deal signed. I guarantee you that Putin's not going to try anything once that minerals deal gets signed, because we have again, that's us backing up Ukraine because we have an interest within Ukraine. Easy. It's easy. I don't know. It's easy to me.
Faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me.
No, that
was
with
a
Biden.
guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards, but without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
All right, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm going to show you this too, because this is the Ukraine ambassador, and this was during the heated exchange that was going on, but she just puts her head down and into her hand, and you can see that she's like, oh my gosh, you know.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that was.
Look, I don't know if she's like doing that because of what President Zelensky's doing, or if she's doing it because of what President Trump is doing. I don't know. But I found that a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. But look, you know it's pretty bad when Lindsey Graham comes out and and he's the one, and he's saying that, you know, just look at this. You know it's bad when Lindsey Graham is saying this stuff. Check this out.
All right. So
Lindsey Graham has been a very, very, very strong supporter of Ukraine throughout this entire conflict. So just for him to come out and say what he does here, you know it was bad.
what I think, complete, utter disaster. I've been to Ukraine 8 or 9 times since the war started. I understand the consequences of Putin's actions against Ukraine. I appreciate what the Ukrainian people have done. They fought like tigers. At the end of the day, I was hoping that this minerals deal, which would be transformative in the relationship, would go over well. I talked to Zelenskyy this morning. Don't take the bait. President Trump was in a very good mood last night. Somebody asked me, am I embarrassed about Trump? I have never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance. standing up for our country. We want to be helpful. What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelenskyy again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled the meeting, the way he confronted the president was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelenskyy do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
I don't know either. Look, like I said, I mean, it's pretty simple in my opinion that this shouldn't be a hard decision. Like I said, the minerals deal gives President Zelenskyy what he wants. It gives him the U.S. backing and security against Russia, because I believe that with this minerals deal, we've got $500 billion going into this deal, and we're going to help them, get these minerals up and help them. It'll fund Ukraine. It helps pay us back to what we've given them. It gives us a reason to back Ukraine. And President Putin's going to think twice before doing it, because now we've got this in place. I think it's simple. Sign the deal, deal with the rest of it later. Anyway, that's all I got for today. If you lasted this long, I appreciate you hanging out through my ramblings. Me repeating myself over and over again, but I appreciate you hanging out. If you like what you saw, follow me on Rumble. You can subscribe to me on YouTube, but Rumble's where it's at. I mean, go to Rumble, get yourself a Rumble Premium plan, and hang out where all the free speech is. Don't bother with YouTube no more. Anyway, you can also follow me on X at ThePoliticalRay. And again, appreciate you hanging out. Have a good day and God bless.